Have you ever wondered why, even after praying with all your heart, that tightness in your chest still lingers? And why therapy sometimes brings clarity, yet leaves your spirit feeling strangely unfinished? Why does it seem like you're doing everything right, but the anxiety still sits quietly in the background, like a weight you can't fully shake? And deep down, do you ever question whether you're missing something God is trying to show you? And that's exactly why today's message matters so deeply. The title, The Real Difference Between Prayer and Therapy for Anxiety, speaks to a struggle so many believers quietly face: the tension between trusting God and seeking practical help. Because when anxiety refuses to let go, even after prayer, it creates a silent confusion. Am I lacking faith? Yet therapy alone can feel incomplete too, as if the mind improves but the soul is still restless. Your thumbnail, Anxiety Ends Here, isn't a promise of instant escape, but a doorway into clarity, because the truth is, prayer and therapy are not competitors. They heal different parts of you. And until you understand that difference, you'll keep wondering why your heart and mind don't feel aligned, even when you're doing everything you know how to do. For so many mature adults, anxiety becomes a silent battle they carry alone, hidden behind responsibilities, routines, and a lifetime of trying to stay strong for everyone else. It creeps in during the quiet moments, late at night, early in the morning, or in those long drives where your mind finally has space to speak. And somewhere in that silence, a painful question begins to echo: if my faith is strong, why am I still anxious? It's a question people rarely admit out loud because it feels like doubt, like weakness, like something a believer shouldn't wrestle with after all these years of walking with God. That confusion creates a heaviness, part guilt, part frustration, part spiritual fog, because anxiety doesn't just trouble the mind, it troubles the heart. It makes you question whether God hears you, whether you're doing something wrong, or whether the peace you're seeking is somehow out of reach. But here's the truth most people never understand: anxiety is not one-dimensional, and it's not a sign of weak faith. It's layered. It blends emotional wounds from the past, mental patterns you didn't choose, spiritual battles you can't see, and life pressures that have accumulated over decades. And when all those layers stack on top of each other, even a strong believer can feel overwhelmed, even while praying faithfully. This is why so many Christians feel stuck, because they're trying to fight a multi-layered problem with only one tool, not realizing the battle goes deeper than they've been taught to acknowledge. Before we understand how prayer and therapy work together, we first have to acknowledge this: you are not broken and you are not faithless. You are human. And understanding the depth of this battle is the first step toward the peace you've been searching for. This moment, right now, sets the emotional stage for a deeper revelation God has been trying to show you, one that has the power to finally break the cycle of anxiety you've been carrying for far too long. When it comes to anxiety, prayer isn't just a ritual, it's the moment your soul finally exhales. Because prayer at its core is surrender. Not the kind of surrender that means giving up, but the kind that means laying down the weight you were never designed to carry alone. It's the grounding of your spirit, the quiet returning of your heart to the one who understands the battles you can't put into words. In prayer, something supernatural happens. Your identity gets restored. You're reminded that you're not just a person struggling with anxiety, you're a child of God who is held, known, and strengthened. Prayer touches the spiritual root of unrest, the part of you that feels disconnected, drained, or spiritually empty, even when your life looks fine from the outside. Because anxiety doesn't just disrupt your thoughts, it disrupts the deeper truth of who you are. And this is where prayer begins its quiet work. It stabilizes what fear tries to shake. It reconnects the heart to its anchor. It pulls the mind out of panic and brings it back to presence. Even when you don't feel the relief instantly, prayer is shifting something beneath the surface, aligning your spirit with God's peace in a way therapy alone cannot reach. And here's the rehook most believers forget: prayer heals what cannot be seen. It speaks to the unseen storms, the spiritual discouragement, the emotional exhaustion, the invisible tension that anxiety plants in your soul. Spiritual storms cannot be solved with human tools alone. They require spiritual alignment. And when your spirit is misaligned, even slightly, your anxiety grows heavier, your thoughts get louder, your hope feels weaker. But when you pray, your spirit comes back into alignment with God's truth. That alignment doesn't always change the situation instantly, but it changes you within the situation. It stabilizes the foundation your mind stands on. It calms the soul first so the mind can follow. Prayer is not meant to erase every anxious thought in a single moment. It's meant to invite God into the places where anxiety has been hiding. And once God enters those places, the heaviness begins to lift in ways you might not notice immediately, but you will feel the difference over time. That's why prayer is powerful. It restores the part of you anxiety tries hardest to break. While prayer works on the spirit, therapy works on the invisible patterns your mind has built over years. Patterns you didn't consciously choose but somehow ended up living inside. Therapy's role is powerful because anxiety isn't just a feeling. It's a cycle your brain learns to repeat. Through therapy, those cycles begin to break. It rewires mental patterns that were shaped by childhood wounds, past disappointments, relationship pain, long-term stress, and moments you never fully processed. Therapy helps you uncover the triggers you didn't even know were controlling you, the thoughts that spiral late at night, the fears that appear suddenly, the memories that still influence how you react today. And while prayer heals the spiritual root of unrest, therapy helps you understand the psychological layers built on top of those roots. This is where the difference becomes clear. Spiritual healing restores your identity and your connection with God, but psychological healing restores the way your mind responds to life. Spiritual healing tells you, you're safe. Psychological healing teaches your brain to believe it. And here's the rehook most Christians need to hear. Therapy fixes the patterns prayer doesn't target. Prayer can bring peace to your soul, but if your mind is stuck in fear loops, overthinking, self-blame, or unresolved trauma, you'll still feel anxious even while being spiritually grounded. That's not because prayer is weak, it's because your mind needs healing too. Therapy is not a replacement for faith, and it's not a sign of spiritual weakness. It is simply another form of healing God often uses to rebuild what life has broken. Removing the stigma around therapy is essential, especially for believers who have been taught to just pray about it, but were never shown how to deal with the mental patterns that prayer doesn't rewire. Therapy doesn't replace God. It works alongside what God is already trying to heal in you. It gives you tools to navigate your thoughts instead of drowning in them. It helps you break the cycles that your spirit is tired of fighting. And when you allow therapy to work with prayer, something powerful happens. Your mind finally begins to match the peace your spirit has been seeking. And this brings us to the big truth most people never realize. You need both prayer and therapy, but in the right order. Spirit first, mind second. Because when anxiety hits, the part of you that panics first is your mind, but the part of you that collapses underneath it is your spirit. Prayer realigns your identity with God, reminding you who you are and who you belong to. Therapy then realigns your behavior, helping you unlearn the reflexes anxiety has programmed into your thoughts. When they work together, they break anxiety from every possible angle. Prayer gives you the spiritual anchor. Therapy gives you the mental tools. Prayer says, you are held. Therapy teaches you how to stop running. Prayer restores your sense of worth. Therapy helps you stop reacting from old wounds. Prayer brings peace to your soul. Therapy helps your brain catch up to that peace. Without prayer, therapy can feel like adjusting your mind on a shaky foundation. Without therapy, prayer can feel like receiving peace that your mind keeps rejecting. And here's the rehook that shifts everything. Anxiety finally begins to end when your spirit and your mind stop fighting each other. When your spirit says, God is with me, but your mind keeps yelling, I'm still scared, the conflict inside you grows. But when prayer stabilizes your inner world and therapy rewires your thought patterns, the two parts of you that were once at war suddenly begin to work in the same direction. That is when the confusion fades. That is when the heaviness lifts. That is when your heart and your head finally move toward peace instead of pulling each other apart. This is the moment so many believers spend years searching for. The moment when their spiritual confidence and their mental clarity finally meet. And once they do, anxiety no longer has the same power because it no longer has the same divided ground to stand on. You become whole again, aligned again, steady again. That's why you need both, and that's why the order matters. One of the biggest mistakes many Christians make in dealing with anxiety is expecting prayer alone to undo years of deeply rooted mental conditioning. You might believe that if your faith is strong enough, the anxiety should simply vanish. But the truth is, anxiety often grows from thought patterns, habits, and wounds that have built up over a lifetime, patterns that prayer alone can't immediately erase. On the other hand, some expect therapy to replace spiritual grounding, hoping that by changing their thinking they'll find the peace only God can give. But therapy without prayer leaves a missing piece, a spiritual void that no amount of cognitive tools can fill. This is why many feel stuck, caught between two worlds, never fully healed or free. The rehook here is powerful. You are trying to fight a two-sided battle with only one tool. Anxiety isn't just a mental problem or just a spiritual problem, it's both. To truly find freedom, you need the spiritual restoration prayer provides and the mental rewiring therapy offers. Using one without the other is like trying to fix a broken chair by only replacing one leg. Until you recognize this, the anxiety will keep coming back, and the peace you long for will remain just out of reach. But once you understand the need for both, you can begin to walk a path that leads to real healing, mind, body, and spirit together. Sometimes, even after praying earnestly, you might find yourself feeling emotionally drained rather than refreshed. That heaviness in your heart won't lift, no matter how many times you fall on your knees. At the same time, therapy sessions might clear some mental fog, but you still wake up with a restless mind and a soul that feels unsettled. These mixed signals are often God's gentle nudges, telling you that healing isn't just one-dimensional. It's a journey that requires both spiritual surrender and practical steps. You might feel a quiet prompting in your spirit, a gut feeling that says, there's more work to be done, even if you don't fully understand what that means yet. These divine nudges are God's way of guiding you toward a fuller healing process, one that honors both your soul's need for connection and your mind's need for clarity. The rehook here is profound. Sometimes God answers your prayers not by removing the struggle immediately but by leading you toward the help you need, the therapy or support that complements your faith. It's a reminder that healing is a partnership between divine grace and human action. When you begin to recognize these signs, emotional exhaustion after prayer, mental fog despite therapy, that inner pull toward something more, it's time to listen closely. Because in that place of surrender and openness, anxiety starts to lose its grip, and peace starts to grow deeper than you ever imagined. When prayer and therapy come together, something powerful happens deep inside you. The spirit is stabilized and the mind is restructured. This harmony creates a foundation so strong that anxiety no longer has the same power to shake your peace. It's as if two parts of you, once at odds, begin to walk side by side in unity. The restless mind learns new patterns that support the peace your spirit is already experiencing, and your soul feels held by God even when difficult thoughts arise. That's why the peace you feel after this alignment isn't fleeting or fragile. It starts to feel permanent. It's not about the absence of anxiety but about a new way of living with it, one where anxiety no longer controls your life or your faith. This peace grows over time, through prayer that grounds you and therapy that reshapes your mind. And here's the final rehook that changes everything. Freedom comes the moment you stop choosing sides, when you stop believing that prayer alone must fix it or therapy alone must heal. True freedom is found in embracing both, allowing your spirit and mind to work together as a whole. That unity unlocks a life where anxiety loses its grip, and peace becomes your new normal.